Good morning. We are live in beautiful, shivering cold downtown coastline in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California's Inland Empire. I'm going to move the camera. My face doesn't look that like that in real life. It's bad, but not that bad. Okay. It is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me ask Google what that is in Celsius. 7.7 and a fourth, 7.2222 on forever. Celsius. Hi, Witta. Good morning. Welcome in. I now have 6 cats. I was going to start at about 7:45, but I had to watch Guga eating at Red Lobster. Guga has a YouTube channel mostly about steaks, but he went to Red Lobster because they're going bankrupt and closing most of their locations. I think he said 150 locations are closing. And he did not recommend steak at Red Lobster. Hi, Jason. Welcome in. Anyway, Guga did love the seafood, the shrimp, the lobster, in various dishes, and boy, can that man eat. Ditch, hi there. Welcome in. Ah, it's cold. It's 45 degrees, 7 Celsius. Goldfish is here. Welcome in. Yeah. Inventive goldfish. Well, Tora, she's pawing at me. She says, Mom, you forgot the treats. 61 Ditch says, 61 isn't bad unless the wind is blowing. Okay, Tora got her treats. Tutu gets her treats. Tora's walking away from her treats. But that's okay. Smokey will eat them. Oh, 3C. Look at you. Such a pretty girl. Grandpa is in the house. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing someone. Oh, Sweetie. Sweetie's in, but I don't know where she is. Well, welcome in, Freeman. Well, Tora, you wanted, I see, she wants the treats, but she wants them in a different place. Okay, you want them here? There you go. Cats. Yeah, I just got on it a minute or two after 8. Yeah, my counter on YouTube says it's almost 4 minutes now. 8, 9, 4 minutes. Yeah. Well, anyway, Guga, Guga on YouTube, mostly talks about steaks, and he does strange experiments with aging steak and cooking steak and, of course, eating steak. But he went to Red Lobster and he did try their steak and he said, nah, well, not impressed. But he had all kinds of shrimp and lobster dishes and their cheese biscuits. And they, let's see, he ordered Brussels sprouts. And when they came, they looked awful. They looked as if they had been burned. but that was just the sauce, which he said was something like teriyaki. And he said the Brussels sprouts were delicious. Well, Freeman, uh, every time someone tries to stay in the house next door, the sheriffs kick them out because it's condemned. It's unsafe. Half of the support beams are gone, and the roof could fall in at any moment. My a local friend was complaining to me that the housing market is not as robust as it was, and her house is only worth $235,000. I'm cracking up. Mine is worth about 100,000, and I consider that overpriced, really, for what I have. No, I don't think you can find California land under 12,000. Tora, quit pawing through my stuff. That's mine. She says, everything in this house is mine. Cats are that way. Okay. Here's the other flavor of treats. I have two flavors because cats get bored. Dogs get bored too. Even horses get bored with the same old food every day. Okay, knock it off. I put food in your dish. You get out of my coffee, Tora. Get out. You didn't eat what I gave you. Is it the wrong flavor? Oh, she wants the special treats that you squeeze out of the tube, but I don't dare do that when the other cats are in the house because they'll all want some. Eat it or don't, Tora. I don't care. Just stay out of my stuff. Bad cat. Oh, Whit is eating FEMA MREs. I feel sorry for you. They're better, though, than the survival food that you can buy. I've looked into it, and it's like mac and cheese, but in a plastic pouch that lasts 20 years. Well, so does a box of, that box of mac and cheese that Kraft invented. And now all kinds of brands sell it. And then there's beans with a little bit of meat in them, or beans without meat. And I'm like, I've got a can of beans and it tastes better. And it didn't cost as much. And of course, freeze dried fruits and veggies that you have to rehydrate. And in a super emergency, where are you going to get the water? You can only store so much water and you can only store it for so long. Oh, poor Witta and Son. Low sodium vegetarian MREs. Well, at least you can add salt. Ew. Yeah, any water can be purified, but not everybody can do it. Ooh, some of your MREs came with Pop-Tarts. chemicals masquerading as fruit filling, but they're tasty. Oh, the low sodium meals come with a packet of salt. Okay. So they let you choose whether you want it. Huh. Well, last time I put Pop Tarts in my toaster, one of them exploded and got the jelly all over the heating elements. There was no way to get it out. It was stuck like glue. I think it is glue. I had to just keep using the toaster until it all burned off. Tora, I gave you treats and you didn't eat them, so leave me alone. Pop Tarts are chemicals wrapped in other chemicals, but they're tasty, especially the raspberry, which contains no raspberries, near as I can tell. But I do like the brown sugar flavor too. One guilty pleasure that I have is the McDonald's apple. They're like little apple pies, but they don't deep fry them anymore, so it just is not the same. Oh, MREs have the worst coffee ever. Yeah, during COVID, I ended up having to buy generic coffee, which I know from tasting it is either Folgers or Nescafe. And honestly, I couldn't drink it. I found my bag of coffee beans in the bottom of the cooler cupboard and started grinding real coffee. I if I, on the whole, I would prefer tea to Folgers or Nescafe. Uvan used to be my brand, but I'm more sensitive to the acid in it now, even though it tastes good. Ooh, MREs come with hot chocolate, and they mix it with the coffee. Hi, Philip. Welcome in. Didn't see you at first. Well, instant coffee is handy if, for example, you're making a chocolate cake and it says to add some coffee to the mix. It boosts the chocolate flavor. You can either just add the powdered instant coffee or dissolve it in hot water and pour that in. Well, at least FEMA brought you some food. Tora, it's my chair. You don't get to sit on me. Ah, come on, get off. I'm going to open a can and see if that satisfies them at least temporarily. Okay, it's mixed grill Friskies. Move. I can't put it in the bowl if you're sitting on the bowl, idiot. God, cats are idiots. They're stupid idiots. There. It isn't Fancy Feast, but hey, I'm on a budget. Every third batch of canned food is Fancy Feast. Tutu likes to help me eat my food. She stole my slice of cheesecake the other day. Bad kitty, bad cat. Ah, Anheuser-Busch sent in water. Yeah, that's a good thing they do. When there's a disaster, they stop making beer and start bottling water to give away. They're paying for a certain ad campaign, but they do some good things. Ah, Jason says, better living through breakfast chemicals. I had from the food bank a little can of red salmon, and I prefer pink salmon, but hey, it was free. Why complain? And I made some salmon patties for me, and I gave what was left in the can to the cats, and they didn't want it. It's like, ew, what's this? Finally, Grandpa, the old tomcat, ate it because I didn't put out anything else, but it took him all day to eat a few bites of salmon. So, hey, salmon is mine. Deal with it, cats. Oh, Witta got cornflakes and a box of milk. I don't mind boxed milk, but why does it have to be fat free or 1%? Ick. Tastes nasty. Don't they know that old ladies need all the calories they can get? And fat is, your brain is made of fat. Your hormones are made of fat. I got itchies. Oh well, itchies and tickles. Yeah, Grandpa is definitely an old tomcat. He was getting down to skin and bones before I decided to go ahead and feed him, and now he's getting fat. Exactly, they should leave the fat in the milk. Oh, it rots faster when it has fat? I don't think so. I think they just hate us. Oh, Witta says your box of milk, her box of milk does have fat. Ah. I wish I could go to Red Lobster where Guga went. There was, for example, a um, chicken. Oh, they put Chef Vincenzo would have a fit. So would Chef James Makinson and a few others, because Italians don't put milk or cream in their sauces. But Guga says it's fine with him. It's delicious, and he didn't like the Alfredo he got in Italy. He wants the cream in it. And I've been thinking, Alfredo sauce in Italy is some pasta water, some butter, and some cheese. Well, what's butter made of? Cream. And what's cheese made of? Milk. So why not add milk or cream to it? Ah, Philip has fat and he's not rotting. Breaking up? Humph. My computer says it's okay. Ah, Guy. No wonder the cat sat on the modem because it's warm. They like warm. Tutu, don't sit on my modem. Uh, type. Uh, okay. Well, I do put the modem on the cat condo, so I guess it's partly my fault. I'm sure some parts of Italy do use milk or cream, but Alfredo traditionally is butter, cheese, and pasta water. I do like the advice of the Italians to, when you take the pasta out of the boiling water, put it in the pan with the sauce and cook it a little so it absorbs the sauce. The sauce sticks to it. But I do not like al dente, probably because I grew up eating that canned spaghetti, Franco American. And, I like this pasta overcooked and super soft. If you've ever had spaghettios or the spaghetti in the can, you'll know what I mean. Ah, well, I'm preparing to make a tetrazzini. Uh, all the recipes are for turkey tetrazzini. I usually put in canned chicken because I don't have turkey except at Thanksgiving. But the food bank gave me a can of chicken, and I was going to make chicken salad for sandwiches, but I think I'll make chicken tetrazzini. I really have to clean the stove first and the pan. Pans with an S. It's pasta like spaghetti, but I think I'll use angel hair, which is thinner than regular spaghetti, and a white sauce. And it used to have chunks of celery, chunks of mushroom, and of course you put, after everything's cooked and put in the pan, basically a bread loaf pan, you sprinkle breadcrumbs on top and bake it. Mostly to brown the breadcrumbs, but also to make sure it's completely cooked through. Ah, Ditch says canned chicken is surprisingly good. I don't want a wacky pack of ragu sauce. Ragu in America is a brand name, but in Italy it's meat sauce, any meat sauce. Anyway, nowadays I finally found it in the frozen food section, and it had tiny slivers of mushroom that I couldn't get my teeth into, and these teeny tiny broccoli florets. Now I like broccoli, but these were so tiny I couldn't taste them and I couldn't get my teeth into them, which is probably why I couldn't taste them. So I'm going to make my own. Now the white sauce is easy. You melt some butter and cook an equal amount of flour in the butter, just enough. Well, you can brown it if you want, but I don't want the butter brown. I want to keep the heat really low and just get the flour cooked enough in the butter so that it does not taste like paste. And you slowly pour in, stir in milk or cream, whichever you've got, to make the sauce. And I know the Italians freak out when you put green peas in a dish, but I'm going to use green peas, frozen, not canned. and some slices of celery. I think I might have to resort to canned mushrooms. I have some in a glass jar in the refrigerator, unopened. They're teeny tiny button mushrooms. So I might after I drain off the liquid and rinse off the salt, I'll probably slice them in half or just leave them whole. I'm definitely putting in chunks of celery. I don't happen to have any broccoli, but it actually sounds pretty good. And of course, I'll drain the can of chicken and put that in. Basically, I mix it up in a bowl so I can be sure that everything is mixed. The pasta, the sauce, the goodies. I want them evenly mixed before I pour them into a bread loaf pan. If you make a bigger batch, you can use a bigger baking pan, like maybe a 9x9 cake pan. I don't have breadcrumbs. I'll have to make some. The bread I got is so moist you have to toast it forever to get it dry enough for breadcrumbs. So I think I'll leave a slice or two out in the open air to dry before I toast them and put them in a food processor to get made into crumbs. Witta, you have canned chicken? Well, you don't have to cook it. It's cooked, but any kind of sauce, whether it's spaghetti sauce or the white sauce I just described, and heat it up in the sauce and put it on toast or on a baked potato. Pretend it's what we call SOS, stuff on a shingle. And you know the first word isn't stuff. Or if you use a red spaghetti sauce, put it on noodles. Yeah, and chicken salad. Little mayo, a little sweet pickle relish, and a dollop of mustard, and spread it on a sandwich. Good point, Ditch. No stove required to make the chicken salad. Yeah, I want the Italians to freak out. Okay, first I have to actually do some videos on my other channel. I've been so far behind on kitchen maintenance that I just haven't had time to do a cooking video. My energy levels are extremely low, and I have so much to do. My son is home from the hospital. They tried to send him to Cedars-Sinai or UCLA or a third hospital that I forgot the name of, and not one of them had a bed for him. So the surgeon at the community hospital where he is said, well, I can't send you home. You'll die. I can't keep you here forever. That's no way to live. So I'm going to do another surgery. And he did. And it took 4 hours. Thank God they had my son knocked out, under the sleep medication with the anesthesiologist. 4 hours of heart surgery. And he's home, but still waiting for a bed at a major hospital that can help him with the autoimmune, I don't want to say disease, it's a condition that is damaging his heart. very few doctors and hospitals deal with that. They have to have this specialized testing to find out exactly which um, substances in the environment are triggering it. And gee, they're all full of heart patients, including, young men in their 20s. They're so full they don't have one bed for my son. So he needs prayer. Italian MREs come with schnapps. Schnapps is, and I keep forgetting the name for flavored liquors, but it's one of those. It's really for flavoring a drink with real alcohol like whiskey or rum or at least brandy or vodka. Oh yeah, that doctor is a hero. The whole hospital keeps, whenever they see him, they say, show a thumbs up, and they say, you're the man. Hi, Pio. Welcome in. I'm just nattering about cooking. We don't get trick-or-treaters around here. A few days before Halloween, all the merchants in town, all the little mom and pop stores, and even McDonald's and 7-Eleven give out free candy to the children. And one woman on my Facebook group had the nerve to complain that her child got only one piece of candy at a certain shop. Every child got one piece of candy. Cordials. Thank you, Freeman. That's close to what I was thinking of. Let me see if I can get a synonym. It got dark again. The clouds are gathering. It isn't supposed to rain till Saturday. Synonym. Oh, it's going to give me something like cordial liquor, or else I'll get things like friendly or sociable. Okay. Now I'll fix my typos. Liqueur. That's it. Ooh, Drambuie. I've never had Drambuie. Liqueur. I think. Oh, God. Liqueur. Something like that. Thank you, Ditch. It's Americans love to confuse people. We have a candy called cherry cordials, and there really isn't a significant amount of alcohol in them. The cherries are, prepared in a syrup that has some brandy or something, but when you eat them, you're not getting drunk. You could eat a whole warehouse full and not get drunk. Oh. Ditch says it's the worst game of Scrabble ever. Yeah, I'm ticked off at Facebook. They failed in negotiations for the Scrabble game that you could used to play on Facebook. And so it went away, and they tried to replace it with a different company's version of Scrabble. And that one was so horrible, no one would play it. Well, I use peach schnapps in my orange juice. It elevates the flavor and doesn't get me drunk by any means. Just maybe a tablespoon in 4 ounces of orange juice. Oh, Wita sometime earlier asked about chicken fritters. I've never made such a thing. To my mind, apples are for fritters. Fritters are basically a very thin, runny biscuit batter with chunks of the filling in it, and you fry it, in a frying pan with some oil in the bottom. Oh. Anyway, I used to stock up on candy just in case, but no one ever came to the door except my first Halloween here. The man next door brought his 3 boys. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. There were either 3 or 4. I think it was 3. Yeah, if you're brave, you can make chicken fritters. What I like to do is take the chicken and make little chicken balls now I can't always afford this, but with mango chutney. And if I don't have that, so I'll have to use sweet pickles. You make little balls, maybe no bigger than a golf ball, but okay if it's a little smaller. A little mayo or egg to hold them together. But if you use egg, you have to cook it. So a little mayo, a little either sweet pickle relish or mango chutney. Make your little balls of chicken and then roll them in curry powder. I get the sweet curry powder because I cannot tolerate the hot spices. And I make them about half the size of a golf ball. And you can eat them as they are or spread them out on a sandwich. No, the cats will not be critter fritters around here, Freeman. Oh, cornstarch for the fritters. Yeah, if you don't have cornstarch, you can use flour. The cornstarch is better. You don't have mayo? Do you have egg? You're going to fry the fritters. Just whisk up an egg real good. You know what mayonnaise is made of? Egg and oil. So if you have a food processor or a blender, blend some rocket blender, little one. Eggs and oil need to get really, really super mixed together, and you have mayonnaise. But use it right away because in America we don't pasteurize the eggs and we don't vaccinate the chickens. And oh yeah, if you're making mayonnaise, you do want to add a little lemon juice or vinegar, one or the other. It helps the mayonnaise to stay together and taste better. And if you have salt, a pinch of salt doesn't hurt. All right. Start with 1 egg and an equal amount of oil, a pinch of salt, and a little bit of either vinegar or lemon juice. So try a small batch first and see if you like it and what flavor you like. Some people add some mustard. I do not recommend English mustard. It's hot. It's like horseradish hot. But whatever mustard you like or whatever mustard you have. Oh, Philip says, so it isn't true that mayo is made from the tears of people who wish they had some good mustard? That's a good one. Who knows? Ooh, Pio says use honey mustard. Yeah, that's good stuff. But sometimes I don't want the sweetness. Your store-bought mayo also has sugar in it. Well, if mayo makes you sick, Freeman, it's probably the egg in it. Most people have at least some bad reaction to eggs, but we love them so much and they're so full of good protein that we just ignore the slight upset. Or in my case, I take a pill. Ooh, Philip likes omelets. Yeah, I've never gotten brave enough to cook an omelet, but I might. There we go. I take this stuff for when I'm eating something with a lot of protein. It helps me digest it. It was recommended by the doctor, but it does not require a prescription. Betaine is that stuff that comes from pineapples, and pepsin is a digestive enzyme. When I was a child, restaurants always offered you pepsin gum, mostly for the children. It was a chewing gum that had pepsin in it to help you digest your meal, and the chewing motion also helped. So after eating the meal, you'd have a little pillow of pepsin gum. No, you can't use hard-boiled eggs for mayonnaise. Doesn't work. But in a pinch, you can use that dehydrated egg powder. Just add water. Farmers market eggs. Well, not this time of year. We have farmers markets in the spring and summer when the weather's halfway decent, and they end a couple weeks into autumn. Or if you prefer, fall. I like autumn. Well, I've watched all these shows about making omelets, and apparently they insist that you have to hold the pan and flip it, moving the pan. I would have egg all over the stovetop, the countertop, and the floor. So I'll just use a spatula. Oh, I have sugar-free applesauce too, Witta. The food bank loves to give it out. So I keep a little shaker can of cinnamon sugar. It's what it sounds like. Cinnamon and sugar. And I sprinkle it on top of my applesauce. Sugar-free is good. It gives you a choice. if you want to get really fancy, almost any dish, anything you're cooking or mixing up, and well, mostly cooking things, but mixing up and eating, even savory dishes, just a tiny bit of nutmeg. Not enough to taste it, but it elevates the flavors that are there. Just be careful. If you're going to be drug tested for work or whatever, if you eat enough nutmeg, it'll show up as heroin or morphine in a test, in a blood test. Oh, the same thing for poppy seeds. It depends on how sensitive their test is. I agree, Philip. Autumn is less confusing than fall. Um, well, I think just shoving the eggs over to one side of the pan is good enough to make your omelet kind of crescent shaped. If you start out with your eggs all around the pan, a big circle, you don't have to flip it. You've cooked both sides. You just want to get your veggies or whatever you've put into the omelet inside 2 layers of egg. And even then, they often stick out. Well, I use a ton of nutmeg on my eggnog. Oh, it's that time of year when the stores have eggnog. It's possible to make eggnog at home, but once again, I don't trust raw eggs in the US. You can get pasteurized eggs if you can afford them. Friend said something about Jerry Lewis cooking on a hibachi. Well, the food bank's going to give me a turkey this year. A turkey to be cooked, and I can't decide whether to just roast it in the oven or try putting it on the Weber kettle, the charcoal barbecue. I have some, I think it's oak chunks that are made to put on top of the coals to give a smoky flavor to whatever you're cooking. Basted eggs, Freeman. I've seen them make those, but I just put butter in. I use a really small frying pan. I put in some butter and melt it. I crack in the egg, and I put a lid on it so I don't have to turn the egg over. The top will cook, and you can choose whether to have a runny yolk or a solid yolk. Just keep an eye on it. Huh. Vastus Dime Baroof? I don't remember what Baroof means. Okay. Come here, Google. TRANSLATE Baroof. Oh, typo. Profession. Ah, that makes sense. I'm not a chef. I'm barely a cook. I'm a kitchen challenged cook. I'm really a writer. It's German. Yes, Pio speaks German. I've never brined a turkey. What I'd like to do is, since we no longer stuff the bird, we make the stuffing or dressing separately and just pour turkey juices over it. In the cavity of the turkey, I'll put an onion, maybe cut in half so it'll fit, but I'm not going to eat the onion. I'm just putting it inside the turkey. And a potato, get a big russet potato and peel it and put that in. I'm also not eating that. They're just to, I don't know, they're supposed to make the turkey taste better. Well, when I see them make basted eggs on YouTube, Freeman, they take a spoon and spoon the liquid over the egg to cook the top because they're not going to flip it. Ditch speaks Yiddish. Yeah, Pio is Polish. Well, most Polish people don't speak German because historically Poland and Germany have been enemies, especially because of the Prussians. By the way, the Polish knights saved the city of Vienna, Austria, when it was under siege by, I think it was Mongols, might have been Huns. Yeah, it was Huns. During what we call the Renaissance. I think it was 1500, something like that. They saved all of Europe. We'd all be speaking Chinese or some other Asian language without those Polish knights. People don't realize Poland was a Catholic country, still is to some extent, in spite of the Soviet Union. The Warsaw Volunteer Fire Department is actually a bunch of Catholic monks. Oh, West Poland is pro-German? Yeah, that's where the Prussians lived. They're the ones who turned a variety of little German countries into Germany. They consolidated it by threat and any means possible. Who has not been under siege by Mongols? Good question. I don't think they crossed the Bering Strait into Alaska, and they probably never attacked South America or Australia. But yeah, I think they even went into Africa at one time. Okay. I didn't save the page. There were 2 battles where Vienna was under attack, and I think the Polish knights saved them both times. Okay, the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, technically they were Muslims, but that was their leader converted to Islam in order to get more troops to join his army. Okay, let's see. 1683, the city was almost out of resources and close to defeat. Well, let's share the page. What the heck? Polish knights, led by King Jan III Sobieski, saved Vienna from the Ottoman Empire in 1683. But there was an earlier one. All right. Huh. The first one has Jan, Jan. This one down here calls him John, John. But there was an earlier war. The Winged Hussars. Those were very special knights. But there was an earlier one. Maybe it wasn't I'm not getting it. Oops. 1529. Yeah. First attempt by the Ottoman Empire. Habsburgs, evil Habsburgs and Ottomans. All right. Let's try this. Poland stopped. Oops. The Mongol hordes from invading. Here we go. Poland was able to stop the Mongols from invading multiple times, blah, 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 fortifications and a defensive plan. Ooh, the third Mongol invasion of Poland. Poland and Hungary both put a stop to the Mongolian raids by using fortifications, more strategic battle formations, and strong, effective tactics. So it's the Mongols, not the Huns. Okay. A year? You want to tell me when? Evil Google. When? Let me see. Anyway, they would have taken all of Europe. Let's see if it'll tell me when. 1242. A year after the great Khan Ogedei died. Third Mongol invasion of Poland, 1287 and 88. Yeah, and the Polish stopped them 3 times. Wow. Okay, I'm going to quit screen sharing and look at this chat because I'm way behind now. A lot of Germans in Breslau, Pio says. Wealthy business owners and corporate types and real estate holders. Well, there's some conflict because most of Eastern Europe is actually Orthodox. The Orthodox and the Catholic Church is split over, basically over one line in the, I forget what they call it. It's the pledge that the people take when they join the church, the Apostles' Creed. As to whether Jesus was subordinate to God. Let's see. Nicene Creed, yes. Philip. Cat hair. Yuck. But it's also called it's the Apostles' Creed is how I usually hear it said. I think it's the same thing. Let's see, Nicene Creed, same as Apostles' Creed. Well, it would be for the Catholics. It says, no, they're not the same. The Nicene Creed is more in depth. A summary of the Orthodox faith, not to be confused with the Orthodox Church. It's a little o, meaning, the standard. The Nicene Creed, Nicene, is more expansive than the Apostles' Creed. So yeah, they're the same, but the Nicene Creed has more to it. Well, the Orthodox Church does not have a pope. Each country has a patriarch, which, by the way, is really the same word as pope. They both mean father. So Greek Orthodox has their patriarch, Russian Orthodox has their patriarch, Ukrainian Orthodox has their patriarch, and so on. So they don't have one pope over the whole church everywhere in the world. Oh, Ditch says he's converting to Gnosticism if he has to read all that. Oh, how do we get into this when I was talking about cooking? Yeah, the Mongols did have some success in Hungary, but Hungary and Poland did stop them. It was around the same time. Now, our politicians have figured out that you don't have to make war to take over. You get the people to like their subjugation. Okay, I got lost, Philip. Someone is a nephew of a chessboard cleric, but was actually his son. But he couldn't acknowledge him because of chastity vows. Who was that? Uh, yeah. Well, most, some pope, it assumes. We haven't talked about Halloween. Yeah, well, Halloween, we used to put an apostrophe between the two E's in EEN because it's a contraction of even, like evening. Um, it's the evening before All Saints' Day. And somewhere in the mix is Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. I know it's a Mexican holy day. I assume it's in Spain, but I don't know. All Hallows Eve. Yeah, that's what Halloween is. Yeah. Thank you, Goldfish. Oh, that's the origin of the word nepotism, Philip says. It refers to a nephew of a chessboard cleric who is actually his son, but he couldn't acknowledge him because of chastity vows. Yeah, well, that's where the Church of England and I forgot the name, the one in America, Episcopalian, got it right. They allow their priests to get married. Many Catholic priests have switched to Episcopalian for that reason. Yeah, there was a time when among the wealthy classes, only the eldest son inherited the land, the house, and the money. So any younger sons had two choices: join the military or join the church. And their eldest brother usually gave them an allowance, a little bit of money every month. And if the eldest son died, the next one in line got to take over if he survived the church or the military. I finally broke down and ordered candy corn online because I can't find it anywhere. Usually Rite Aid has it, but they don't, or they sold out before I could get there. I want my candy corn for Halloween, and it's a relatively recent tradition. It's a 20th century thing. But I want it all year round, really. But it's kind of expensive to order it online. But I couldn't find it anywhere else but from Brock's, the company that makes the high quality candy corn. But apparently there's a lot more to Halloween than candy and costumes. It's terribly bad for our health, candy corn. It's like corn syrup and sugar and food coloring, but I don't care. I've got to have it. And now my friend Ria, who drives me to the post office and the grocery store, says, I like candy corn. She wants some. Fortunately, I ordered the biggest bag they had. I think it's like a pound. You know, most candy bars are like less, 4 ounces or something or less. I didn't decorate at all for Halloween. No point in it. It is somewhat demonic. There's houses all over this mountain with really good decorations. They're mostly skeletons. Some have vampires. Some have ghosts, but we put on the big show for Christmas with the lighted Santa's sleigh with all the reindeer and stuff like that. Yeah, solstice, Ditch. When is the winter solstice is around Christmas. When was the fall equinox? Let's see, FA. I know it should be autumn, but less typing if I put. It was on September 22, so we're about a month later. In England at one time, people would make little pastries, something like scones or what they call, well, what Americans call cookies, biscuits, to give to children who came to the door. I think Halloween is fun, but yeah, there is a dark side to it. Oh, the Anglican Church in Canada would ordain St. Thomas if he were here today. Hmm. Oh, doubting Thomas. I'll believe it when I put my hand in the wound. Or, yeah, he wanted to touch the wound in Jesus' side where the spear was pushed into him. Oh, Desmond Tutu is Philip's favorite who worked against the chessboard clerics. He was amazing. He was a bishop, right? In the, it's got a big long name, but it's basically the African Anglican Church. I think it's also Baptist. I think it's Black Baptist Episcopalian, something like that. It's an amazing church. Yeah, Halloween used to be more fun. And then we had to make sure our children didn't dress in all black because they might get hit by a car while trick-or-treating. And now there's worse things. There were always rumors of things like razor blades and medications disguised as candy. but I never ran into that. Mom always inspected our candy when we came home, but what she was really doing was taking the best candy for herself because she was the devil's sister. When my son went trick-or-treating, I'd ask him for some of his candy. I wouldn't just take it. And if he said no, well, no means no. Yeah, now they're going to have all the slasher movies available. Freddy Krueger, Jason, all the. I like horror. I'm not into slasher movies. Although I did enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street because of the idea of a bad guy invading their dreams. Anyway, the place where I got baptized by a Baptist church was they were renting the building at the Episcopal church because they didn't have their own building. It was a glorious baptism in a backyard swimming pool. Oh, yes, Vincent Price specials of Edgar Allan Poe. Now you're talking, Witta. Okay, what did Freeman say? Oh, okay. Well, I'm kind of lacking in church history. It just never interested me, but Phil knew a lot. I've been on for over an hour. All right. Let's see what Google says about Marionite. Maronite. I wonder if they're related to Mennonites. Maronites are a Syriac Christian ethno-religious group native to the Eastern Mediterranean and the Levant, whose members belong to the Maronite Church. A lot of Maronites in Israel. Difference between Maronite and Catholic. The Maronite Church is Eastern Catholic, but in full communion with the Roman Catholic Church. Aha. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, what people don't realize is that in Israel, there are Arabs in the government, elected. They're equivalent of our Congress, high up. You won't find any Jews in an Arab government. So who's the real racist isn't quite the right word. I think you know what I mean. Oh, wow. Speaking of reggae, Freeman, you wrote Raggy. I don't know, but I thought it said reggae, like, oh, forgot the guy's name again. The musician who had hit albums and then died. I don't know whether it's true, but they say that he had a bad infection in his foot. He was like Jamaican, but he believed that he couldn't go to heaven if he lost his foot, so he wouldn't let them take off his foot to save his life. That's what they say. I don't know whether it's true. But those reggae, there's another word, I've forgotten it. I read about this recently. Oh, I heard it from what's her name, who's investigating the family tree of the Harris family. I can't even remember her name. It's morning. My brain doesn't work. Back, I think the 1800s, somewhere around there, some corrupt politicians tried to wipe out all the people in that religious sect in Jamaica. All right, let me see if. Oh, it's an E, not an I. English is weird. Okay. I'm not getting the guy's name. The full meaning of reggae. Quarrel or protest. Ragged clothing. Bob Marley. Well, that reggae began in the 1960s, but there was a religious sect in Jamaica. They had their hair in dreadlocks and they were very religious, a Jamaican religion. We got an argument going on in chat. Relax, guys. It's okay to be mistaken. A disagreement, whatever. It's okay. Oh, Witta knew Bob Marley's name before I found it. Okay, let's see if I can find the Rhodesian flag. Rhodesia, I think, doesn't exist anymore. Flag of Rhodesia. Named after Rhodes, who got wealthy having basically slave labor mine gold for him on land he pretty much stole in Africa. Oh, they got two. I think those are impalas. There's some kind of ungulate, goat-like critter. And they have some kind of plants and a bird on top, a golden bird. Humph. Okay, pretty flag. Government in exile. Is that it? Rastafarian, thank you, Freeman. The Rastafarians, yeah, Rasta. Some crooked, by the way, European white men tried to wipe out Rasta. Yeah. I used to think I wanted a Rhodes Scholarship. Now I'm glad I never even tried to get one. Hi, Sarah. I think you're the Sarah who sent me all those goodies, the flashlight, the beautiful sketches, the sketch of those flowers. I've been meaning to send you a thank you card, but I can't read the address on your envelope. I'm going to have to get someone else to help me decipher it because the post office messed it up. Anyway, I'm winding down. Oh, the Zulus. There was a movie called Shaka Zulu. I never watched it, but it was about the brave Zulus. The problem was the Zulus had spears, but the British and the Dutch had guns. But they just kept on coming, hordes and hordes of people who did not want to be under the rule of foreigners. And meanwhile, yeah, the Dutch and the British were fighting each other. I think England won. They got South Africa, even though it was really most of the people were Dutch. Yeah, Rhodesia did some good things, Freeman, but even so, they really put down Americans because we took over this land that already had all these Indian tribes, Native Americans. But they don't talk about what England and France and Spain and even Germany have done to Africa. Now, it's not a perfect system, but we did set up reservations where the tribes could maintain their own lifestyle and religion and community. Except in Canada and North Dakota, where the Catholic Church forced the children to dress like white people, learn English, and give up their traditions. They're paying for that now. The Catholic Church is teaching the Lakota their own culture, their native culture, because it's the church's fault that they lost it. Yeah, the Zulu were not exactly nice guys either, but the Dutch and English were the invaders. And you ought to check out some of Walter Bosley's books about Napoleon. He was not the dictator that they make him out to be. Certainly wasn't perfect, but the English in particular did not like this Frenchman consolidating France and preserving French culture. Yeah, Ditch needs lunch. I need breakfast. Thanks for coming in, Ditch. And yeah, the British brought railroads and hospitals. So did the Americans. And by the way, it was not the cavalry that gave our Native Americans blankets infected with smallpox. It was crooked store owners who were supposed to burn the infected blankets, but found that they could sell them to the Indians and make money. Anyway, I'm going to get really upset if I keep this up. On Halloween, remember, the idea is that the spirits of the dead begin to murmur. And the next day is the celebration of the saints. Now, in Protestant Christianity, all believers are saints, not just special people who get appointed by the Pope or the cardinals. But you do have to be a little extra careful on Halloween because there's some weirdos out there. But mostly it's just a fun holiday where we get to face our fears in a safe environment. Like the Freddy Krueger's really just a kid with a mask on. And the skeletons are made of plastic. And you get to have candy. Oh, my candy corn should be delivered today. Revenge of the Rabbit sounds good. Oh, it's a Ripley's, a Believe It or Not story. I'll tell you, Australia wishes they had never imported rabbits. Or cats. If you're in Australia and you have a cat, you have to keep it inside and never let it outside to kill endangered species, endangered native species. Well, I'm glad it's a funny story, Witta. Maybe I'll check it out. The Bunny War. Revenge of the Rabbits. Cool. But I gotta get going. It's been an hour and a half. By the way, Napoleon's ancestry was really Italian. Italian and I forget which island. But he wasn't really French, but he adopted the French culture and everything because he loved it. Joined the military and rose high in the ranks because he was intelligent and educated. He was a French patriot. And the only war he ever started was when a province in Spain violated a treaty. All the other wars were started against him. The Russians and the English in particular didn't like this nationalism and national pride that was growing in France. No wonder France is so screwed up today. Now, I have no problem with English people, but their royal houses have been so crooked and corrupt. It's a good one, Philip. How many? He wonders how many are going as Santa for Halloween. St. Helena, I think it was the other island. Yes, Philip, Corsica. He ended up on St. Helena. Originally, they were going to take him to England and put him in prison. But according to Walter Bosley, who has a good YouTube channel, the British aristocracy were afraid that the English people would rise up against them because they liked Napoleon so much. Yeah, in Corsica, many of those islands between Italy and France in the Mediterranean were actually Greek and Italian in population. So I'm pegging Napoleon as actually Italian. Yeah, royal houses are not only inbred, Pio, they have nepotism. And if you don't have the right bloodline, you're gutter trash. Um, you're like acceptable. Forgot the word again. Damage. But there's an adjective in there. Like on the side, not intentional. Thank you, Philip. There's Walter Bosley's channel. It's a great channel. And he has great guests sometimes. Okay, let's get going and have a great day and eat all the candy and not give it away to the trick-or-treaters. Yeah. Well, I think the wealthy and powerful elites are nuts. And according to some people, get this, Elon Musk is more wealthy than George Soros. I thought St. Helena was off the coast of North Africa. If I had the candy, it wouldn't matter. They don't come where I live. But one year, I ran out of candy, so I started giving out dimes, 10-cent coins. And I ran out of those. So my son and I locked up the house, turned off the lights, and went to a restaurant for some food. It was like Bob's Big Boy, hamburger and a fudge cake, ice cream fudge cake. And when we got back, someone had kicked our jack-o'-lantern into, a pile of mush. Just because we weren't there to give them candy or money. Jerks. Oh, Musk is the richest man in the world. Wow. Well, not if the Democrats have their way. Wow, Sarah, St. Helena is between Africa and South America. Wow, out in the middle of the Atlantic. They really wanted to keep him out of Europe. Walter Bosley makes a good argument that it was actually Napoleon's brother who went to the island, and the standard history is that Napoleon's brother came to the United States, but Walter Bosley suggests that it was actually Napoleon who came to the United States and his brother who went to the island in his place. In any case, One of the two Napoleon brothers was in the United States doing scientific research. Anyway, I really gotta go, and you guys have a life too. So let's do the usual. Thank you all, and have a great day. And God bless you. Thank you, Philip.